Hi guys, it's Tara and welcome back to Crafting with Curly Cues. Today I am making another set of cards for you, and these ones are featuring the super cute Better Together stamp set from Neat and Tangled. I just love these images. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of masking and inking and Copic coloring today. So first I used these Mama Elephant basic die set, and you can see I taped them together and ran them through my Big Shot, and that way I got both the frame and the inner panel for the cards rather than two separate pieces, because I'm going to do some inlaid die cutting. So now I'm going to use my Misty to help me line everything up so I can get super awesome, really dark stamping. And I am going to take each one of those three panels and I'm just going to stamp one of the different adorable little images from the stamp set, these sweet little kids. And then the stamp set comes with these awesome, really amazing, big, thick fonted sentiments that you can kind of add the smaller font to create full sentiments. So I'm going to stamp each one twice just to make sure I get a really good image there. And then I'm going to go in and add one of the smaller little complementary sentiments, I guess you could call them, to complete the sentiment. And I'm going to do this for each of the images in the stamp set, and I'm going to give each one just kind of a different sentiment, but ultimately I'm using the exact same process. This is Nina 110 pound solar white cardstock that I'm using here. And so now that I have all of my images stamped out, you can see I have all three panels. I'm taking this really fun stencil from My Favorite Things. This is one of their newer ones, and I think it's super fun. And before I got started, I created masks on Inka Dinka Doo mask paper for each of these images. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that little boy image right on top there. I'm using my craft knife there. I got a little bit of ink where I didn't want it. So if you gently scrape over the top, you can kind of get that top layer of paper off and get rid of that little oopsie that I created there. So first I'm going to position this stencil where I want it. So I kind of want him right behind the point on that chevron pattern there. I want it to kind of come out from both sides of him there. And then I'm going to take my distress inks, and for this image I have chosen to do the blueprint sketch and the peacock feathers. And I'm just going to lightly start at the bottom and go over a couple of those chevrons. I don't want to do the whole stencil, I just kind of want it to be behind my image. And then I'm going to kind of ombre it up into that peacock feathers towards the top. I just discovered this combo of distress ink, the blueprint sketch and the peacock feathers, and I am like obsessed with it. I don't usually gravitate towards blues. I am 100% a pink gal, but this particular combo is just so pretty that I just have been using it as often as I possibly can. So I'm just going to kind of clean up my area a little bit so I don't get distress ink all over everything. And now I'm going to take the frame that I cut out of the same Nina cardstock with my dies at the beginning I showed you, and I'm just going to distress ink this frame in those same colors. So I'm coming in at the bottom with the blueprint sketch, and then I'm going in at the top and I'm using the peacock feathers, and I'm just going to ombre those in together at the sides and then just kind of make the rest of it nice and dark. Now, you could do this without doing inlaid die cutting, and you could just cut the back panel and then the front panel and then just distress ink that way, and it would be just, I think you'd get a really similar look. I just for some reason wanted to do it this way. So now I'm taking both of those pieces in my distress sprayer and putting some splatters on there and then wiping it up with my paper towel, and you can see how cool that looks when you peel the mask off. Peeling the mask off is like magical. So I love the water distress look you get when you put water on top of distress inks. You do have to keep in mind, if you're doing it on Nina cardstock like I am, that the Nina's not built to take a bunch of water. So you just have to make sure that you kind of get your paper towel in there quickly and make sure that it doesn't soak in too much, or it can make your paper kind of go a little funky. And then also I left the masks on while I did that so that none of my inking would bleed, but I still got a little bit of bleeding on my ink just because, you know, water's wet and it got in there where I didn't want it. So just kind of keep an eye on it. So now I'm doing my second panel here, and I'm using this sweet little girl. This is my favorite image in the stamp set because she's holding a little owl. She totally reminds me of my little girl Kennedy, and I just freaking love it. So I am doing picked raspberry, and I'm fading up into abandoned coral for this particular card. I love this color combo also. This one was giving me fits. For some reason my stencil didn't want to stay where I wanted it to, and then I kind of got ink up at the top where I didn't want it, so I was like, okay, I'll finish that chevron out just so it doesn't look completely like goofy. And then I'm going to come in and do the same thing and do the frame for this card. Now the frame, you can see I'm kind of got my fingers all over. I'm holding it really stiff because it's such a dainty little piece that my aggressive inking here was bending the cardstock. So that's why my fingers are kind of on both sides of where I'm blending, and that's just stabilizing the cardstock so that I don't get it all bent and crinkly before I put it on my card. So now that that is all done, I'm going to do the same little spritzes for this panel and get some of those really cool water drops on there, and just pick those up with my paper towel. Here we go. I love the way that these turned out. This just was so fun. I got pink all over this panel though. I don't know what my deal was. There's like pink splotches everywhere. But it's okay because that just means that we can add more sequins at the end, right? Like to cover up the splotches. So it's totally not a big deal at all. So this is my last one. So this little gal is super, super cute. I love her curly little hair. I have a friend on Facebook. We traveled abroad many years ago. When I studied abroad in London for college, I met one of my friends there doing this trip, and she now has, her and her husband have a little girl. Her name is Luna. She's super, super cute, and she's got this brilliant orange, fiery, gorgeous, curly red hair, and this little image just totally reminded me of Luna, so I decided to color this little gal redheaded. You'll see later, but anyway, for the colors on this one, I'm using Cracked Pistachio, and I'm blending up into Twisted Citron. This is another color combo that I really dig. Twisted Citron, I think, is becoming one of my favorite distress ink colors, and again, I'm a pink gal, so why I'm liking all these blues and greens is kind of beyond me, but it's just a super pretty combination, and I love watching other people's craft videos and cards and stuff because you get so much inspiration from the other crafters that are out there. It's such a great community, and some of these color combos I'm totally borrowing from other crafters because I would never have thought to put some of these colors together. Like, to me, these two colors do not look like they go together, but when you blend them in, it's so pretty. I don't know. So thank you to everybody out there in Craftland for all your creativity and inspiration. It's a constant source of inspiration and happiness for me to look at all the amazing things that everybody else is creating. So anyway, now that I've gushed a little bit, now I've got all of my sets of panels done. So now I'm going to dive into my Copic coloring. And I will warn you guys, this is pretty much the bulk of the cards, is all of this Copic coloring, because these are such cute images. I wanted to take the time to really make sure that I colored them well and did them justice. So if you are not someone who enjoys watching Copic coloring, I highly recommend you just skip ahead a few minutes in this video here, because this is gonna take me a while, let me tell you. So anyway, you can see the caps that I'm using for the different colors sitting next to it there. I'm using my technique that I prefer, which is to put in the lighter color first and then go in with some shadows in a medium color, go in with some shadows in a darker color, and then blend back out in the reverse order of all of that. So that is kind of the process that I'm using throughout everything that I'm doing here on these various images. I'm not really super stressed about where the shadows are. I'm kind of doing more of a like if the light was like right in this poor kid's face, like from the front, is kind of what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of shadowing the outside edges of things and then coming in and lightening those shadows up a little bit. I have to do a few of the tip techniques for some of my markers, just because I'm kind of realizing lately the more I'm Copic coloring, I got really, really into my zigs for a while, and I love my zig markers. I think they're probably my favorite coloring medium right now, is to bust out my zigs. But I love Copic coloring, but since I kind of got away from it for a little bit because I was obsessing over those zig markers, I stopped kind of collecting colors, and now I'm trying to get back into doing more Copic coloring so I can practice and get better and better. And I'm realizing, man, I just really need to go on a Copic marker spending spree because I just don't have as many colors as I would like to have. I have plenty, don't get me wrong. I am totally spoiled because I definitely have plenty, but of course I just want more because that's just how it works in this crafty world that we live in, I feel like. So it took me forever to figure out what color to color his shirt. I didn't know what to do. I thought about doing a total contrast, like a yellow or something, but I decided to go with red. Nicole McGorick is always talking about how she puts a pop of red in every single one of her cards, and so I don't know, I just colored that little fox kind of reddish brown, and so I was like, okay, I'll just kind of go with that that theme there and let him match his little fox. So I went with a red shirt for that little boy. So next I'm going to color this sweet little lady, and I kind of, sorry, my camera cut out and I didn't realize it, so I skipped the skin, but it's exactly, literally exactly the same as I did on the little boy. So now I'm going to color her blonde, little kind of dirty blonde hair, and so I am totally modeling this little girl after my little girl. So Kennedy has this kind of blonde, blonde brown. It's getting darker as she gets older, but when she was little, it was a lot more blonde. And then hugging this little owl. OMG. It's stealing my heart. I can't even handle it. So I went with some of these kind of pool island. I don't know. What are these color? What is this color family? This teal, turquoise? I don't know. For her little dress, I thought that it coordinated well with the pink on this card. And then I'm going to give her some bright pink accessories because every little girl needs bright pink accessories, I think. And that's just the way it goes. So I have to tell you guys, I have been pretty proud of myself. I have been like just kind of on this crafting, like, I mean, obviously, as I'm sure is true for most of you, if I could craft like 24/7, I totally would. But, you know, there are other things in life that I have to do. So sometimes, some weeks, it's like it's a struggle to find any time in the craft room. And then it kind of becomes like a chore, you know, like, oh man, I haven't, you know, gotten in there in a while. I need to get a video up, you know, and that's always kind of a bummer because you never want the thing that you're the most passionate about to become like a chore. But lately, I don't know, I've just had this like inspiration surge and I have been in the craft room like nonstop. My husband probably has forgotten what I look like. And it is like, but I'm making sets of cards every single time. And I usually in a week, like it used to be that a week for me, probably I could produce maybe on a crazy crafty week, I would get 4 or 5 cards made. And lately I've been switching to this thing where I'm trying to make sure that I make at bare minimum 2 cards at once, like at least 2. And I seriously have created probably 20 cards in the last 10 days, which is awesome. Like I'm so stoked about it. So I'm telling you guys, if you are wanting to mass produce cards, like if you're wanting to build up a stash or create card sets, like gift sets or something like that, like give it a shot because I was intimidated by it at first, but it really is true that when you've already got your supplies out, you've already got your stamp set, kind of like this set right here. So I'm making 3 cards. So I just stamped each image from the set and it really doesn't take that much longer. Like all my Copics are already out. I'm already in the coloring groove by the time I get going. So obviously, yes, it takes longer to color 3 images than it does to color 1, but it just really, like with the masking and the distress inking and stuff, it's like you're already going, your stencils are already out, your distress sprayer's sitting right there. I mean, it's just way easier. So if you were someone who likes to color too, like you could sit in front of the TV and color up a bunch of images and just have them ready. And then when you go to make your sets of cards, you can just do all your like masking and die cutting and all that all at once and then have your images ready to go. So it's been really good for me, and I don't find that it's taking that much longer to create 3 or 6 cards as it did to create 1. So I'm really loving it. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So now that everything is colored, and I managed to jabber through that entire really long Copic coloring session, so good for me and my giant lung capacity. I'm going to start assembling my cards, and this is pretty easy. I'm just putting adhesive on the back of these elements and sticking them right on the front of an A2 card base. And you can see I put down the frame first so that I made sure that was where I wanted it, and then you just pop that middle panel in like a puzzle piece. So every single card got a variety of sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh in all different sizes because I can't resist. I love them. And then I'm going in with my white gel pen and I'm adding some highlights both to the images and then to these large word sentiments also. I just think it kind of makes them pop off the panel even more there. And then of course I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stella because duh, you got to have some sparkle. So we're making the fox a little sparkly and some shoes a little sparkly, and of course this pretty owl, which I had to make pink also because I love owls and I love pink. So it's basically my dream stuffed animal right there. So if anybody has one of those like real, I will pay you for it. Someone find me a pink owl. So anyway, this is my black glazed gel pen, and I'm just adding a little bit of that to the eyes of all the characters and their little critters, just to make them pop because they kind of got dulled out a little bit in all that Copic coloring. And I'm putting some on the little fox's nose there. And that completes the cards for today. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love the images in this stamp set. I think they're so, so sweet. Here's some close-ups of all of the Copic coloring, because that really is the focal point of these cards, is the Copic coloring. I think that the background is really fun. It's nice and simple. It draws focus into that image, which is super cute. But you really can't go wrong with this stamp set. So, you know, what am I going to say? So if you want to check out the supplies, you can find them listed below and over at my blog. If you enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe and leave me a comment. Check out the description box below for more crafty inspiration and to join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thanks, guys. Bye.